Many YouTubers, including myself, have made a list of what they think are the best new for 2021 roller coasters. I made mine back in November, and since then lots of new information has come out about the new roller coasters, so I decided to make a similar video with my updated opinions. But remaking my old video would be boring, so I decided to make a video ranking the top 25 new for 2021 coasters for Airtime. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you do not miss out when more videos come out. I have a lot more cool and unique video ideas that I can't wait to share with you guys, so make sure to stay tuned. Before we start, I want to give a shout out to Light of Revenge at a Happy Valley park that's name will be on the screen. This is an Intamin Blitz coaster that was rumored to be a clone of Cheetah Hunt at Busch Gardens, Tampa. While it is not an exact clone, the layout is still very similar. This coaster opened in November, on the same day that the Iron Gwazi POV was released, resulting in this ride getting pretty much no attention. Now, let's move on to the real list. Number 25, the unnamed SNS Air Launch Coaster going to Window of the World in China. This is a smaller SNS Air Launch Coaster compared to the others in China, with a speed of just over 62 miles an hour compared to the 83 miles an hour of the others. I'm not sure if this has the same layout as the others, but even if it has a similar layout, this is a good spot on the list. Number 24 is the world's first Intamin single rail coaster, Big Dipper at Luna Park in Australia. This coaster only has a speed of just under 45 miles an hour with its two tire-propelled launches, but it has a solid layout given the tiny space Intamin had to work with. The layout features a double down, with no airtime, followed by the launch into a non-inverting loop, with no airtime. But later in the ride, there is a solid airtime hill which will give strong floater airtime, and a twisted double down that looks to give 2 pops of airtime as well as lateral forces. While it's not the most intense coaster, it does what it's supposed to do. Number 23 is the unique Premier Rides launch coaster, Dragonfire, located at Doha Oasis Quest in Qatar. This features a multi-pass launch with a twisted spike, followed by a compact twister layout with 2 inversions, a helix, and a couple moments of airtime. Number 22 is the unnamed Gravity Group wooden coaster going to Sunac Jinan in China. This one has stats similar to the other small Gravity Group wooden coasters with a height of 75.5 feet and a speed of 46 miles an hour. This looks to have a layout packed with small pops of airtime, just like many of the other small Gravity Group coasters. The 21 spot is taken by the Vekoma Space Warp and Hyperspace Warp going to 2 different Fantawild parks in China. The Hyperspace Warp is pretty much the same ride as the Space Warp, just with a lift hill instead of a launch. These coasters have a layout filled with inversions and many different types of airtime moments, including regular hills, twisted hills, and even some outer banked moments. Number 20 is a coaster I have heard almost nobody talk about. This is Barracuda at Ocean Paradise in China. Barracuda is the second ever Intamin vertical lift coaster, the first of course being Fahrenheit at Hersheypark. This will be a taller version containing 5 large inversions and a good amount of airtime hills along the way, including one after the loop and one before the brakes. Number 19 is a coaster that has gotten a lot more attention recently. The Hurricane roller coaster at Forest World in China is a mock-launched hypercoaster with a 200-foot top hat. This layout mostly focuses on inversions, like the previous coaster, but it still has a good few moments of airtime, including the speed hill before the Cobra roll and the double up before the brakes. 18 is Leviathan, the Gravity Group wooden coaster going to SeaWorld in Australia. This coaster has a height just over 100 feet and a speed right below 50 miles an hour. The layout features many different airtime moments, as you could expect from a Gravity Group coaster. But this coaster has a back car that is facing backwards, which will deliver an insane ride experience. Number 17 is Icebreaker at SeaWorld Orlando. Many people have just put this off as a family coaster, but this ride will be so much more. Along with the multi-pass launch, this ride will have many strong airtime moments including a top hat, a couple hills after the top hat, the turnaround, a sideways airtime hill, and a couple smaller hills before the brakes. This will definitely be one of the most underrated coasters of the year. Number 16 is the Mock Extreme Spinning Coaster going to Plopsaland in Belgium. This coaster is the successor to Time Traveler at Silver Dollar City, and it features an even more intense and airtime-filled layout than the original. It starts out with a JoJo roll out of the station, a JoJo whirl on a spinning coaster. Next up is the first launch into a large first element featuring an outward banked turn. Not like an outward banked hill like on RMC's, but an outward banked turn, like the turn is literally banked outwards. This is followed by a very steep drop that will give great airtime in the back cars, and will probably be better than the station drop on the original Time Traveler. It then goes into a banana roll, which will be super disorienting, and the rest of the layout features some inversions before a twisted airtime hill, which will be great, and a second launch into a double inverting dive loop. This element looks somewhat reminiscent of the flying snake dive on Storm Runner. Let me remind you all again that this is a spinning coaster. Following that insane double inversion is an airtime hill, a turn, and a double up into the brakes. The quantity and quality of airtime and forces you will get on this coaster while spinning are going to be super disorienting and super awesome. They better give this coaster a super awesome and intimidating name. Wait, what? That's what they're gonna call it? I mean, at least the theming will be good, and they will get a soundtrack from none other than Hans Zimmer, my favorite film score composer. Number 15 is the unnamed B&M Hypercoaster going to Hot Go Dream World in China. There are not any released stats for this coaster, but it looks to have a height over 200 feet, which means that the speed will be upwards of 70 miles an hour. This layout is filled with many large B&M floater hills, and from what we know from the other B&M modern hypers, this ride is guaranteed to be amazing. Number 14 is All Speeds at Chengdu Wanda City. This Intamin Blitz coaster is either a near clone or an exact clone of Terran at Phantasialand. Terran is known for its compact and twisty layout featuring many pops of airtime and many rapid transitions. With the amazing theming that this ride is gonna get, All Speeds is pretty much guaranteed to be a very good ride. Number 13 is a collection of Vekoma Top Gun coasters going to various Fantawild parks in China. This is another one of Vekoma's modern launch coaster models, and it looks outstanding. While it doesn't have a ton of airtime moments, the moments it does have look great. The layout starts with an element that looks like a weirdly shaped non-inverting loop that inverts on the first rotation but not on the second. The rest of the layout is more focused on inversions and rapid transitions, but it also includes a good amount of airtime. There is a twisted ejector hill after the first element, the hop into the mid-course brake run, and there's a couple hills before the final brakes that will deliver some good airtime. Number 12 is another modern Vekoma model, this one being the Firestorm. This coaster starts with a weird top hat where the track banks rapidly before leveling out over the top hat and turning very rapidly once the train crests the element. The rest of the layout features many inversions, but mixed in are also many airtime moments, including a twisting hill, a steep drop, and many other airtime moments in the second half of the ride. 11 is a new Vekoma model that we know very little about, but we do know one thing, that the airtime will be amazing. This is the Vekoma Renegade coaster. From the images that we have, we can tell that this ride has many sharp airtime hills that will surely deliver a good pop of negative Gs. Taking a break from the Vekomas, at number 10 we have Velocicoaster at Universal Islands of Adventure. This ride is a first half filled with small, twisting floater airtime moments before hitting the second launch and boosting up to 70 miles an hour. This is followed by the top hat, which will deliver good airtime in the back rows, and then the 0G stall leads into the oscillating helix, which features a wave turn that will give a pop of floater airtime, an outward banked hill that will give sustained floater airtime as well as some laterals, and an overbanked turn that leads into the finale, a speed hill before a low to the ground heartline roll and a twisting hill into the brakes. While this ride has a solid quantity of airtime, the ride will mostly just give floater airtime apart from the top hat. Now, back to the Vekomas. With number 9 we have the Vekoma Shockwave going to Dragon Valley Theme Park located in China. This is one of Vekoma's larger launch coasters, featuring a launch into a large turnaround and a layout containing 5 inversions and plenty of airtime moments. Most of these airtime moments are twisting hills, which will deliver a good dose of laterals and ejector airtime. Number 8 is our final Vekoma coaster on this list, and it is Abyssus at Energylandia in Poland. This is an extended version of the regular Shockwave, featuring 2 launches instead of 1. The first launch is followed by some airtime hills, leading into the second launch, which brings the train to its top speed of 62.1 miles an hour. This is followed by a layout very similar to the previous coaster, just with 1 less corkscrew and many more airtime moments. This coaster has sideways airtime, laterals and airtime, and classic airtime, delivering an action-packed and complete ride experience on the newest contender for Energylandia's and Poland's best roller coaster. 7 is the GCI wooden hybrid coaster, Bombay Express, going to Bollywood Parks, Dubai. I'm pretty sure that this was originally going to be advertised as having the most airtime moments in the world. If that is even close to true, knowing GCI's reputation for amazing wooden coasters, this coaster is going to be insane. It will most likely have many quick pops of airtime, like GCI likes to do with their turnarounds, and will have a ton of airtime snuck into the ride whenever possible. This ride is going to be outstanding. Now, let's move from extreme quantity of airtime to extreme quality, with the new RMC Raptor going to the Wild Water West Water Park in South Dakota. While these rides are super short in length and duration, the intense pacing and extreme forces make up for it. According to Ride Forces on Instagram, the RMC Raptor coasters pull some of the most insane positive, negative, and lateral forces in the world. They pull around 4.5 positive Gs before and after the twisted hill, and on that twisted hill, in the back row, it pulls negative 1.9 Gs. Yes, you heard that right. That's almost negative 2 Gs, which is pretty much the limit for negative Gs. And right after that, RMC does it again, pulling negative 1.9 Gs on that drop off the elevated turns. Number 5 is a bigger RMC Raptor, Jersey Devil coaster at Six Flags Great Adventure. This layout is larger than the previous RMC Raptor coasters, and it features many similar elements to the previous Raptor coasters, like the dive loop and the elevated turnaround with a steep drop following. But most of the other elements are different. This ride features a straight first drop, as opposed to a pre-drop turnaround, a huge sustained ejector airtime hill after the dive loop, a massive 0G stall, a 0G roll, and many small airtime hills after the mid-course brake run. And on top of that, this ride has 12 row trains, which will give some insane airtime on each end of the train, especially the back rows. Number 4 is Stunt Pilot at Silverwood. Remember when I said that the original RMC Raptor models with 8 row trains pull almost negative 2 Gs? Well, Stunt Pilot will have that exact same layout and extreme level of pacing, just with 10 row trains. This will make the airtime in the back row insane, especially on that twisted hill and drop off the turnaround. I wouldn't be surprised if this ride will hold the record for strongest negative G-force on a roller coaster. Number 3 is Pantheon at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. While the layout doesn't feature the quantity of elements like other coasters on this list, the quality will by far make up for it. The first half will have a 0G roll and some small airtime hills before hitting the multi-pass launch, which has an airtime hill and a step-up that will give a good pop of airtime all 3 times you pass over it. The backward spike will also have some good floater airtime, but following that is an insane top hat with a 95-degree drop. Many roller coaster enthusiasts love the 95-degree drop on Maverick at Cedar Point, and this one will be even bigger. Making it bigger will widen the shaping to make for less airtime, but the park makes up for that by having 5-car trains instead of 3-car trains. Following this is a massive Outer Bank airtime hill that will be reminiscent of the one on Steel Vengeance, delivering some very strong and very sustained laterals and ejector airtime. Next up is a small turning airtime pop leading into a long and low-to-the-ground 0G stall, which will give about 4 seconds of upside-down floater airtime. The stall ends with a swooping turn, some fast-paced S-curves, and one final moment of sideways ejector airtime before the brakes. Number 2 is Iron Gwazi, the new RMC Hyper Hybrid coaster going to Busch Gardens, Tampa. Starting with an insane beyond vertical drop, this ride delivers a good mix of quality and quantity of airtime. The first drop leads into a massive outer banked airtime hill that turns the train around back towards the lift hill. This is followed by a short upwards helix into a barrel roll down drop nicknamed the Death Roll. The quick transition from the rightwards banking of the helix to the death roll, where the banking quickly snaps into the roll, will definitely deliver a good pop of ejector airtime in the back row before being dragged down into this insane inversion. This is followed by an overbanked turn, which will give good laterals and maybe a pop of airtime on the exit. Up next is an outer banked wave turn right over the station, which will be awesome off-ride as well as on the ride. The train embarks on another turnaround element, this one being a twisted step-up into a wave turn, both giving good airtime. The second and final inversion is a 0G stall before the train goes into the finale, an outer banked airtime moment followed by a trick track double up, with the second part of the double up dropping the train almost halfway back down to the ground, and the final step down bringing it down to ground level before whipping into the brakes. As I said earlier, this ride will deliver a good mix of quality and quantity of airtime, and it will definitely be a top 5 roller coaster in North America. Finally, coming to number 1, which is Conda at Walibi Belgium. This ride is the perfect mix of classic Intamin roller coaster elements and wacky modern RMC elements. The stats are really not that special, with a height of not even 170 feet, but it does hit 70 miles an hour, which is solid. Anyway, the coaster starts with that chain lift, which is followed by a crazy twisted first drop, very reminiscent of the drop on Expedition G-Force, another European Intamin mega coaster. This drop, in the back, will deliver a very strong pop of ejector airtime, nothing out of the ordinary for a first drop right off the chain lift, but adding on to that is a whip of lateral force, which is what really pushes this drop into the top tier. Following this is another classic Intamin element, an ejector airtime hill. Some of the airtime hills on other Intamin coasters are pretty drawn out, but this one is very steep, both on the incline and the decline. In the promotional video for this coaster, Intamin displays that this element will pull negative 1.3 Gs, which is very strong ejector airtime. I'm expecting this to feel very similar to what I have heard about El Toro's ejector airtime hills, where in the back, the negative G-force starts out as strong floater or flowjector airtime, and the airtime increases throughout the hill, eventually ending up with strong ejector airtime. Up next is another insane airtime moment, this one being a little less strong than the last at only negative 1.2 Gs, which saying only negative 1.2 Gs really shows how ridiculous the caliber of airtime will be on this ride. Anyway, this airtime will be sustained for the entire hill, with some laterals added on due to the outer banking. If that start wasn't crazy enough, the next element is a non-inverting cobra roll, which will deliver good positives on the entry and exit, but most importantly, floater airtime and laterals on the twisting transitions that replace the half corkscrews on the inverting version of this element. We get a break from the weird element, with a speed hill delivering strong ejector airtime. The train turns back around with a turn into a wall stall, which is Intamin's version of a wave turn. This will give some good floater airtime before turning the train back to the left and through an overbank turn, before yet another strong ejector airtime hill. This leads into a trick track double down, which just sounds bonkers. The coaster rises up, turning to the left, before whipping to the right over an airtime moment, and then the banking levels out as you step down to the ground. This element will give 2 moments of airtime and laterals. The trick track double down is followed by another solid ejector airtime hill, before a couple S-curves and the stangle dive that lead into the finale. This finale starts with a twisted hill giving laterals and ejector airtime, before a rapid-fire succession of ejector airtime hills before an off-axis hill into the brakes. I said that Iron Gwazi delivers a good quality and quantity of airtime, but Conda has even more quality and even more quantity, almost every ejector moment delivering under negative 1 Gs, and each floater moment delivering a perfect 0 Gs. I think this ride will be a definite contender for world's best coaster. If Intamin can keep delivering these large thrill coasters that do not break the bank, I can definitely see more of these popping up all over the world. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you do not miss out when more videos like this come out. I have tons of new and unique video ideas written up, and I can't wait to share them with you guys. I'll see you all next time.